So the way you would word that, this is a pretty generic version. I'm not promising it will be this easy. You can only have one output for a single input.
Yes.
So if I put in a number as my input, again, I'm going to pretend like a function machine. There's also the vending machine in the video. If I put in a number, it's typically a number, but it's not always a number. Like when I give you a graph, there's just points on the graph. But if I put in the number 3 and my ordered pair spits out for the y value, so that's my x, what I put in is my x. If I put in the number 3 and my function machine as the output spits out a 7, well, my ordered pair is 3, 7. I'm just going to kind of write this up visually since these are going to be recorded. So into my function machine, I put 3, it spits out 7. That's an ordered pair. It can be in all kind of formats. We did tables, we did a mapping diagram, so that would look, if that's all I have so far, the mapping diagram would be this. There's a 7 over there. Hey, no, do it a different day. This is last 2 days of Twitter. That is a mapping diagram. It's the same thing. It's X's and Y's. X, Y. They're going to interview you next.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know why you get interviewed or why you don't. So 3 is the input. It gave me a 7 as an output. And then again, it could be in a table form. Could be a horizontal table or a vertical. I'm doing a vertical table. 3, 7. Oh, and then it could be on a graph. The graph would obviously be a point that is on, although a lot of people miss, a lot of people miss the graphing question. That's what a lot of people miss.
It's hard.
Well, I think there was some confusion as to what it was asking because a lot of people didn't even try to graph it. You're supposed to create a line from the equation, and some people just put a point on the graph. And not a point anywhere near where it should have been. So there was definitely some confusion on what it was even asking. You know what, here's what I'll do. I won't put it over there. So then the other way that it could show up would be this. What's the number? 3, 7. So then the other way it could show up as data. That is the point 3, 7 on a graph. So all 4 of those different ways, you're going to have to tell me, is it a function or not, based on seeing a set of data in one of those 4 formats. I'm only going to give you an example of one of them right now. I'm not going to do mapping diagram because I think it's, how do you tell from a mapping diagram? What's the super easy way? If you wind up having a set of data in a mapping diagram.
The lines go to one.
Not if they go to something. 2 lines.
It's got to be exact.
Say it again. Say what you said because I kind of cut you off. Not if they go into 1. That's actually fine. 2 lines. Well, here let's try. So you said if 2 lines, 4, 5, 10. So 2 lines are going into one thing. You're saying that's not a function.
2 lines.
Oh, okay. Well, technically a y would never go into an x because it's the output.
That is not.
So how would you say it differently then? That actually is.
No, it's not.
Oh
yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's not that they go. It's not that 2 lines are going into something. It's 2 lines are coming from something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This is a function.
But if it was
I'm putting in different x's and getting the same y. We can have that. That's not the same input. So what would I do to? What if I said draw that to where it's not a function? Change what I have right there and make it not a function. What would you do?
Have an x equal 2 different inputs.
Well, tell me exactly what you would do. I don't want mathy. I want you to tell me what I do to that picture.
Put 5 to
There's a bunch of ways you can do it.
yeah. Well, you put like one number on the x and then have two of the x going to like different y's.
I think you understand. I'm gonna get somebody to see if they say exactly what I'm thinking. Dean.
Oh, just switch the lines around.
Well, let's say you can't switch anything around.
Oh.
What would you do?
What do you mean?
If you're talking about the
Because it'll be on your paper. You can't
You said-
change the lines.
You
They're
just
already
put
on
it-
the
you
paper.
just-
Like they're already.
But you
in
can
the-
change
Wait,
the
Mr.
number.
Gill, you're talking
Nope.
about the map.
You can't change anything. You can add something in.
You're talking about
How
the
many
map.
times?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just take an arrow to an area.
And you just draw another arrow. Draw an arrow from any one. They all have an arrow coming out already, right? Every single one of them has been used once. You just draw another arrow in and make it point to a different output. Because then you're using that number twice. So I could draw an arrow from 3 to 10. I could draw an arrow from 4 to 7. I could draw an arrow from 5 to 7. As long as you have two arrows coming out of one X, then you don't have a function. That I put in, that's the equivalent of putting in 3 and getting 7, but then putting in 3 again and getting 10. That cannot happen for it to be a function. And then that also is how it would look in down a table form. You'd have 3 as your X, but then 10. This would mean you would have an ordered pair of 3 and then 10. And then you'd still have the ordered pair of 4 and 10 and 5 and 10. So that's one of the things you need to know how to do. Tell me and you need to be able to explain it. Again, what did you write down for that? Hopefully you wrote it down.
Yes.
What did you write?
If you have an arrow coming out.
Well, no, this could be from any different format. You could really use the same explanation pretty much from any of the formats because it's all the same thing. It's just it looks different depending on the format.
Oh, that's not a function. That's wrong.
410.
Those two are not.
5.
Well, okay, so I'll say it again. If you did not write this down, this is kind of your generic answer. If I make it this easy, I'm not saying I
What was the
will.
question?
You can, in order for something to be a function, you can only have one output for any given input. So I can only have one Y value for any given input value. One output for any given input. This has two outputs. The number 3 has two outputs. That is not a function. So again, only one output for any input that you try. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Oh, I got to zoom way out. All right. How can you tell if related? Well, we just talked about that. That's how we tell if it's a function or not. What did we do the first day then? Oh, that was really warm up stuff. All right. Next. We talked about that. That's the same thing. There's an example. Which one is a function? Which one isn't a function?
The one on the left is.
Yeah, we don't have two arrows coming from anything, right? So that is a function. Here, that is not a function. This one input has two outputs. That can't happen if you want it to be a function. Is that a function, yes or no? Number 1.
No.
Why not?
Wait.
No,
No, it is a function.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Oh, no, it's not. It's not.
No, it's not,
Because
Two has two different
Yeah, it
You
has
guys
two.
were like literally in sync with when you were saying yes and no. That was pretty fun. Yeah, that is not a function.
Oh, I thought we were looking at.
That is not, yeah, I said number 1, but if you're looking at that one. That is not a function. I put in 2 and I got 3. But then I put in 2 again into my function machine or whatever, my vending machine. And this time I got a second output. You can't get a second output for an input in order for it to still be a function.
The second one is a function.
Yeah, here, I'll give you another quick hint. If you don't have an input that's repeated, if you never have a repeated X, then it's impossible to have an X that has two outputs. You didn't even repeat one of the X's in the first place. So these are all different. If your X, now remember in a mapping diagram, you're not going to see anything repeated. You're going to see two arrows. So you can't use this for mapping diagram. But if you have all different X's, I've never put an X in twice to get something different out. Like there's no way. So just, again, if you didn't understand that, if all of your X's are different, then it has to be a function. There's no 3 with a different number than 9. There's no -1 with a different number than 7. There's no 4 with a different number 10. There's no 5 with a different number 9. I never even used any of those twice to have that happen. If you don't understand that, then you can use the original definition we talked about. Is there any? Nope. That's it. All right, from a graph. I'm gonna do two things here. How do you do domain and range? Oh boy, a lot of people miss domain and range, by the way. Lots of people. A lot. I like it. So, some of you repeated a number. So you need to write, actually, let's just write the rules. What are the two rules?
Y1 minus 1.
Well, that's for slope, for domain and range.
Don't repeat any values.
Actually, I think I have that written somewhere for you. Yes, here we go. Let's just look at it here. Am I getting more stuff? Oh, I was gonna say that's a different teacher name, but she, I guess, is supposed to be called. You can use notes.
Haley, stop barking.
Phone, Axel, phone shouldn't be out during quiz. So the input, the domain is made up of the x value. I think most of you were fine with that. Well, some of you didn't know exactly what a range and domain was at all. So the x values is where we get the domain from. I'm going to do a table that's just easier to create. So 5, 2, 8, -4, -1. Yeah, we're about to do an example. I want you to go ahead and try to tell me what the domain and the range is if you can do it already. I'm going to go over it for people that maybe don't remember completely. Hopefully you can see that okay. The red numbers are the the red numbers are the table. Here are all your x values, here are your y. So I'm about to create the domain from that first. And then we'll go to do it in a graph next. So, apparently a lot of you didn't like this. And you can get it like during class when it's fresh, but then when you went back and you had the quiz the next day or at the end of class or whatever it was, we did not get this. I'd say half of you missed it. And the problem was you missed one number. I think some of you were just careless. You miss one number, the whole thing's wrong. You don't get credit for getting 4 out of 5 numbers in the domain. You missed one number. You put one number out of order because you didn't understand which negative number was the bigger negative number and the smaller negative number. Whole thing's wrong. So you got to take your time on this. So the domain, I look at all the x values. These values are going to be in my domain. Oh, I didn't do one thing. Shoot. Here, I got to do this. This is one of the big problems here too. All right, we'll just do it that way. So I look at all the numbers in the domain. I've got to put those in order from smallest to largest. So the x values or the domain, they need to be in order from smallest to largest. And then the last thing, so here are the rules. Order them from smallest to largest. And then a lot of people forgot this too, or did this wrong. Don't repeat a value. Don't repeat a value. Don't write a value in the domain twice. It shows up twice, only write it once. So the domain for that problem, I'm running out of room a little bit. Here, I'm going to write it up here. So I'm going to do the domain right here. I didn't care if you did brackets or not. Technically, you should. I look for the smallest value in that set of numbers. What's the smallest value in that set of numbers?
-4.
-4. If you don't know how to put them in order, I said use a number line. The lowest number is the smallest number, then work your way up. So -4 would be the lowest number. That's -1, that's -4. So -4 is the lowest or smallest number. So it needs to be the first number. What's next?
-1.
What's next?
2.
And we do not write 2 again. 2 shows up twice,
We can learn once.
but we only write it once. That is your domain. If you want to count them up at the end, probably a pretty good idea because some people just left one out. And that's completely wrong. There's no partial credit. It's all or nothing on these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I'm not going to write that, so there should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Got them all. You've got to be, I think a lot of times it was just people being careless, doing it too fast on that section. Got to be careful in this section. One number that's missing, one that's out of order, one that's repeated. I mean, you shouldn't really make that mistake, hopefully not. So there's your domain. Where can I do the, let's do this. Well, because I want all that to be on the screen to kind of look at it together, but I can do this.
Well, no, make like a fresh page that you just keep adding oh.
Yeah, I wanted all that stuff to be up there too. So now let's just zoom back in. All right. So now, the range is the same exact rules. What's the only difference between the rules for range?
Oh, it's just the Y side.
Yeah, it's just the Y value. So instead of the X values for the domain, it's the Y values. We're still going to write them in order from smallest to largest. So you can write range and then write the same 2 things if you want. Just understand domain is X values, range. I mean, it's open note. You don't even have to remember it. Just make sure it's in your notes. Domain comes from the X values. A lot of you aren't writing this, so I hope you remember it tomorrow. Domain comes from the X values. Range comes from the range comes. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Range comes from the Y values. And then for both domain and range, you order them smallest to largest. You don't repeat. So let's do the range. We'll do that in blue. So, all right, blue. Oh. Range. I don't remember how you did on this, but quickly. Sometimes your tricks are a little long, so let's make this quick. All right, so range, Y values. So I'm looking at these values. And remember, you're going to have, well, we'll do a graph in a second. You might have a mapping graph diagram should be easy. They're already in order, and they don't repeat them because they draw separate arrows. So mapping diagram should be easy. So the only other really one you have to worry about is a set of ordered pairs. And this would just be 5, 4, 2, 3, 8, -1. So same thing we're doing just from ordered pairs. What's my first one? So again, if you're confused, -8 is the lowest number out of all of these on the vertical number line. Lowest number is your first number. Then what? -1.
0, 0, 3, 3, 4.
And I do not repeat, what was it, 3 that was twice? I don't repeat that 3. That's all you got to do for domain and range. Just be careful. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Any questions on that? A lot of people miss at least some. Now, the lucky thing is I didn't count the whole problem wrong. If you missed, because there were 2 problems where you had to do domain and range. If you missed the range, you could still get the domain, correct? I didn't count it all as one problem, so I broke it into 4 separate things, basically. So you could still get some, but almost everybody missed some points on that. Like there were only, I'd say certainly less than 10, maybe less than 5 people that got all the points on that. And it was worth a lot, because I thought it was the easy one. It made it worth a lot of points. Apparently not. No questions, so let's go to the next thing. Oh, let's do the graph now. So, if you have a graph, or should I say when you have the graph, you could do the same thing. You could change these into ordered pairs or write them in a table, whatever, and then do the same thing we just did. And then you would just take all the X values, order them from least to greatest, don't repeat any. all the y values, order them from least. If you want to do that, that's fine. I didn't give you a ton of points. I think there was 4 or 5. It wouldn't take you a real long time to do that. So if you understand what we did, just do it that way. Put all of those values in a table. Make them into ordered pairs, which I'll do a couple of them for you and just show you. I could say, oh, well, that ordered pair is, if that's 0, 0, my graph will be easier to read. That's 0, 0. Well, this is -2, 1. We put them in ordered pairs vertically. I don't care. You could do that. Make all of those in ordered pairs, then do it like we just did it. I'm going to show you the shorter version of that, and that's all I'm going to show from the graph. But just know, I'm going to show you what I think is the quickest and frankly easiest version to get it right. If you don't understand this, do it the other way. Change all of the ordered pairs into, change all of the points on the graph into ordered pairs, then just do the x's and the y's from those. If you want to do the domain is all the x values. Well, this is your x-axis right here. Make it blue. Can I get that? That's the, if you would, thank you. It's gotta be Halo. It's actually open, I think. Oh, it's. Now, if you come back in, just pull it, even though the head off. All right, so if I want to get all of the x values smallest to largest, I can just start at the far left of my graph on the x-axis, because this will be the smallest x value, this side. So in this case, I just look at wherever the points are and I figure out what is the x value for that point, and I go left to right. So for the domain, I want to do it under the graph. So for the domain, again, x values, I just go left to right and I look for where a point is on that x value. Well, there's an x right there. So that's the first domain point. Where's my next one? Raise your hand if you get what I'm talking about.
-1.
Yeah, I know it's a little hard to read. Do you see these are on -2?
I thought it had to be like.
Well, well, look, we just wrote -2, 1 for that one. So it's on, the x value is -2. You're looking at the value. So this value of x is -4. Well, do I have a point
So it
on
doesn't
that?
have to be on the actual line.
No, not on the axis.
Oh,
No,
okay.
just the x value. It just has to match up with that position, because this has a -4 as the x. This and this, actually, both of them have a -2 as the x. This has a -1. This one has a +3. So you're just looking for the x value out of it.
Okay.
Instead of, all you're doing is, instead of writing them out in points, you're just saying without writing them out, you're just figuring out what is the x value and just writing that down. So -2 would be next. What's the next one? -1, because again, I went from -2 to the next one on the right. That's -1 is the x. What's the next one? 0 is, that is not a point. I'm just showing you where the origin is. So yeah, I don't have another point all the way until I get out to an x of 3. Then I have 2. So that's my domain. I want you to try to do the range. Same concept. I would start at the bottom, because now I'm going vertically because I need the y values. So I start down here and I say, okay, well, if this is a y value of -4, do I have any points that have a y of -4? Well, no, I don't. And then you work your way up and tell me what the range is. Question.
Oh,
Yeah,
I get
bring it up to me when you walk out, and I'll just look at it real quick.
I get this now.
All right, do it. Again, I think this is fast if you get it. If you don't get it, I don't want you to struggle with trying to get it. Just do it the other way. Write down the ordered pairs from each point, and then choose from the ordered pairs your x values, your y values.
Wait, we do it,
I believe that is correct.
Mr. Gill.
Yeah.
We do it straight off the chart. The order pairs. The graph.
You mean when you do the range and the range?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, you don't have to ever create that. Just Just say, oh, well, -4, -2, -1, 3. Boom, done. You don't have to create the order unless I ask you to, which I won't. That's not the point of it. The point is not to know how to create ordered pairs from a graph. It's just to be able to tell me the range.
So 5 and 4, would that would be one?
For this?
Yeah.
For the range? Are you doing range?
I'm
Wait, what? You're looking at this and only this. I don't know why you keep looking at your notebook. There's nothing in your notebook, unless you drew this graph, which I doubt very seriously you did.
I didn't read it.
Huh?
I did.
Oh, and you put the points in it? Well, okay. I mean, you can do that if you want to have it in your notebook. It's a good idea. Just make sure you put them in the right spots, because that's good. If you don't have them in the right spots on your graph, and then we do the answers up here, they're not going to match if you don't have the dots in the right spot. You do it?
No, I didn't.
Uh-huh.
I didn't.
Uh-huh. That's kind of what I figured. Where do you go?
Where do you know where I go? I think
I'll look at you sometimes, and clearly you're not taking notes or doing what we're working on.
I mean, I'm supposed to go back to it.
And you're gonna go back and
I went back to the other one. Let's do it. It was pretty funny.
Because I was roasting everybody in this room.
More like you're barking at everybody.
I was gonna say, I didn't record this class. What are you talking about?
I'm saying I did.
Oh, you recorded.
You probably skipped to the best part where I broadcast.
All right, so I'm not gonna walk around, but let's go through it. So the process is for the range, remember we're doing the range this time. I need the y value. That's the first thing you gotta realize, we're talking about y values. Well, the y-axis, let's change colors. The y-axis is gonna be our vertical axis. Green doesn't show up as well, hopefully you can see it. So I'm going to be focused on that y-axis, starting at the bottom of it, working my way up through the different y values on the coordinate plane. And I'm just looking for an ordered pair, or basically a point, that has a y value on the axis, meaning there's a point left or right. Well, is there a point that has a y value of -4? Lee, wake up.
Oh.
Cody, Kevin, wake up.
Two?
I got markers.
Is it 2?
There.
2?
Well, close.
-2.
-2. So the answer was no, there is no point with a y value of -4. If there was, it would be down here. That's what a y value of -4 would mean, is it's y value. I mean, on the y-axis, it would be across from -4. We don't have that, so there's nothing. So -4 is not in our range. Well, I guess let's write this. So what is our first range value?
-2.
-2. That's the first place we see a point relative to where we are on the y-axis. I don't see one at -3. Oh wait, here at -2, I've got 2 of them actually. There's 2 of them. You don't write it twice. Remember, you only write a value once.
Probably more.
Then we go up. We don't have one here. That's not well.
Oh.
0. We do have one at 0.
Hey, I thought that was 1.
No, that's why I put the blue dot, because it is hard to read on their graph. So the one that I use on the quizzes I think is easier to read. Right above that. That's why it's, if you ever get a graph that's hard to read, by the way, like on the PSAT, I don't know what you wind up getting from them if it's nice and clear. Make sure you can tell by just counting up. You know this is -4, right? Write in your own numbers. Go, okay, well that's, if I know that's -4, write in -3, write in -2, write in -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like,
Is it not there?
I don't know. I don't think it is. I doubt it. Maybe it is. It might be. Who knows? Does anybody know, like, that's taking the PSAT? Is that a computer? Is that paper?
That's, I think,
computer.
Even, what would,
You know,
okay,
the ELC
if it's not on paper though, if it's on computer, they give you
Either
scratch
way,
paper.
yeah.
SATs
Make
are, SATs are computer and the ACTs are paper.
What about PSAT though?
PSAT, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one either. So just create your own graph if you have to, and write in the numbers and duplicate it if you really, really, really have to. So now our next number we said after 0 would be 1 and then would be 2. We don't have any more points above 2. So that's where our last numbers would be 1 and 2. And again, we don't repeat any of them, even though we do have 2 coordinates, 2 points at the positive 1. We don't write positive 1 twice. Hopefully you're good on that.
Yes.
This past
I wrote that all down.
Yeah, but you were sleeping.
I was asleep.
3 people have already gone to the bathroom since you've been asleep.
That's not true.
That's not.
How do you
I
know?
was not asleep.
I was on that one.
And I asked you first.
And
You did, but you were sleeping.
I was not asleep.
All right, what's the domain?
For what? The
Uh,
graph? Exactly.
Nah, hey, if you weren't sleeping, you certainly weren't paying attention.
I wasn't sleeping.
So
I
what's
had
the
my
domain?
head down.
What's
Like,
the domain?
um,
She'll be nice. She's not asking to go to the bathroom. You have no idea what we're doing.
wait. Yeah. 10. 1.
One's not even in
I'm
there.
gonna go to sleep.
They're gonna
You
be
might as well, because you still don't know what we're doing.
You said what's the domain?
Yeah, and you haven't gotten it right.
I don't
Domain is not a singular number.
Yes, it's a set of it's all the x values. You put them in order smallest to largest, and then you don't repeat any of them.
I love 3
Positive 3 would be in there, but you got to start over here with the smallest x values. Negative 4 will be the smallest x value.
-1.
Well, this number right here is at negative 4. So negative 4 is your first domain value. So negative 2, then what? You keep going until you're all the way to the end of the right. Everywhere you see a point.
And
And
no.
well, negative 4, and you said negative 2, because there's 2 above the negative 2, then what?
You said go.
You go left, no, range is up and down.
Yes.
So this is domain. We're going left from the left to the right. So we got negative 4, negative 2.
Positive 3, -2.
Well, positive 3, but don't forget that one right there first. Negative 1. Go.
I'm gonna show you my grade.
All right. All right. Any questions on how to do domain and range?
I'm just confused on how to get, like, tell if it's domain or.
Well, why is there X's? I'll go back. You want to go back through it one by If you're not getting it, you need to ask me
Second
questions.
series of D also, so I don't feel like this one's a D also.
What do you mean
so
only 2 F's?
That's
That's too many.
that's not about to be an F though. I'm not. That's,
Those are the 2.
no, this one's a D. He just hasn't put it over to focus. You need the candies.
All right, you got one day to get those up.
Candies.
Well, it was nice.
I'm
That's not because of me. That's because of your mom. So, all right. So again, do you want me to go over that one more time? No, it's not. You guys have got to stop. I get that you don't want to be the one person holding things up. I don't give a darn.
Oh,
Mike.
roasted.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, people, trust me, you're not the only one not getting it if you're not getting it. I've seen the quiz grades. Remember, the highest grade was at 80%. A lot of people are not getting it, but they're not willing to speak up. I need people that are willing to speak up.
Like, I can see numbers, the -4 and the -1, but I can't see the -2 or the 3.
No, are you saying you physically can't see it,
Like,
or
I
you just don't
can't tell
understand
how
it? Let me zoom in, first of all. That might help too, because these graphs are pretty bad. So let me zoom in. I can zoom in one more time.
Like, I can tell.
Let's do a very good job on this, because this should be an easy question. So here's the graph. Get rid of all the markings. So 0, 0 is the first thing you got to locate on the graph. So if it's a crappy graph, which I think the ones I give you are not too bad, I got to figure out, well, where in the world 0, 0? Well, if you know, you see the arrow, right? That's telling you this is the y-axis. That's telling you it's the x-axis. So you know where the axes are. Just find out where they meet. So these come down and meet right there. So that's my 0, 0 point right there. I don't want to put a dot there because I don't want you to think it's a point. So that's the middle of that graph. From there, if you want to write your own numbers in, go out to the left and the right, up and down, with your ones and your negative ones and all that stuff. So now I need to find every, I'm doing the domain. So I need to find every x value for each one of the points on here. Now, some of them I really only need one of them because there's 2 points lined up on those. So for the x's, I'm not going to need both of those. I'm just going to go from this side of the x to that side of the x. Everywhere there is a point, a coordinate that lines up with that x value, then I'm going to write it down. The reason, let me write this in. We're going to do it. Let's do it right. Let's just label all of them. What is this point? What's the x and the y for that point? Hopefully we can read it out. I'm going to start calling on people. So what is the label for that? The x and the y value for that coordinate?
Negative 4.
I heard somebody say something like that.
Negative 4.
So negative 4, negative 2.
So,
Next, top one. And that's positive now, y, right? So what's this one?
negative 2.
I hope all of you can do this. I'm not going to sit here and ask people.
Signed it for you.
Oh, we did? All right.
Yeah.
I want to see it. What is this one?
Negative 1, 0.
Negative 1 is the x, because if this is the middle, that's negative 1. And then 0. What's this one?
3. 1.
And then you count up for everyone. So 3, 1. Again, it'll be easier to see on the graphs I give you tomorrow. What's that one? It'd still be 3, right? Because we knew that was 3 there. Then that's got to be 3, but then negative 2. All right. You could just do that. And then just take all the x values, put them in order smallest to largest, make sure you don't repeat any. Do the same thing for all the y values, put them in order smallest to largest, make sure you don't repeat any. You're good. Now, I think that takes more time. So I'm going to go through, now that we have the ordered pairs in, I'm going to go through that same process of going left to right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. How many points should be in our domain? Why? Why not 6?
Oh,
Yeah, because it repeats.
Yeah, because I have 2 times where I've got 2 points that are at the same x value, right? I have the same x value there, same x value there. And then over here, same x value, same x value. So I should only have 4. So when I go through this and I say left to right, what the numbers are, I better only have 4 of them. Well, the first point that I hit, again, I can use the numbers really, I can use the points on the graph, but as I'm going left to right, the first x value I hit is negative 4. I hit that point right there. As I'm going that way, that's the first point. So negative 4. The next, I keep going to the right. There's nothing at negative 3, so I don't put that in my domain. I go here. Well, yeah, there's 2, but I don't write negative 2 twice. Just write it once. I keep, well, now I go to the very next negative 1. There's a point already. And then there's nothing at positive 1, nothing at positive 2. Oh, I'm sorry, that's 0. Nothing at 0, nothing at positive 1, nothing at positive 2. Up, there we go. Positive 3. I have 2 points there also, but I only write positive 3 once. So that's my domain, and I did only have 4. Now for the range, it's the same process. We just start on the y-axis and work our way up. So that's domain. Start down here. Well, this would be -5. There's no points at -5. This would be -4. No points at -4. No points at -3. And I also don't see a -3 in anything that I have. For the y, I'm looking at the y value now. -2. Up, there we go. I actually have 2 points at -2. So that'll be my first y value. I don't write it twice. And if I look at my ordered pairs, -2 is the y value for those ordered pairs. So I know I'm matching up with that. Now I keep going up, -1, nothing across from -1, 0, up, I got a point at 0. And in the ordered pair, I have a y of 0. I go up one more, up. Now I have a couple points where the y is 1. -2, 1, 3, 1. And then if I go up one more, up, I got 1 at 2. That was a y of 2 right there. That's it. And again, I had 2 points that were duplicated or had the same y value. Those 2 had the same y, and those 2 had the same y. So that's why I only have 4 again. I don't care how you do it on the quiz. Phone's up though. But you, again, I don't consider that to even be one of the harder things on the quiz, on the exit ticket. Vertical line test tells you whether or not, oh, a lot of people miss these. I gave you some kind of weird looking graphs. There's an example, something like that. You still just do the vertical line test. If I take this line, and maybe you didn't have any idea how to do it and you're just guessing, I don't know. I don't hit any point on that blue line. Let's make it a different color. I don't hit any point on that red line twice when I go left and right. Every single point I'm just hitting once. Same. Now here I don't hit anything at all in between those two lines. And then here I don't hit any point twice on that red line. That's a function. You don't hit a point twice. Is that kids or is that? Yeah, they've moved along. If you don't hit any points twice, I'm going to give you a couple drawings real quick because I was kind of surprised that we did as badly on this section also as we did. I'll tell you what, I'll do it on this graph down here. I think I have a whole graph. Is that a function?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no point to mention.
It is a function.
Yeah.
If I go left and right on that, I'll never hit one of those. I'm talking about the black line, if you didn't know what I was talking about. I'll never hit a point twice on that. There's not any duplicated points or anything on that. Did I draw that in? That's a pretty good drawing. I did that by hand.
You did that?
I think I did, because I just noticed it's not perfect. I can see up close it's not perfect.
Try to erase it.
Well, I know I can erase it, but even if I didn't draw it, I can still erase it. All right. Oh, I see what you're saying. I could erase it with an eraser, that would told me. I'm still curious.
Oh,
man.
Slay.
Roasted. All right, so let's draw another one in. What? I just drew one with 2 lines doing that. What about this? Is that a function?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, because it never exists.
Yeah.
If I go left and right.
It's not a function because it hits the black line.
Well, that's the black lines are the y and the x-axis. You need to do a vertical line test with your own vertical line. If you ever hit 2 points at the same time, don't hit 2 points on that section alone, right? Well, there I'm in between the 2 lines, so I don't hit 2 points. I don't hit 2 points on that section. Again, here I'm in between the 2, so I don't hit anything. And then here I don't hit 2 things there. So that is a function again. All right, let's try it again. I know, he's confusing himself now. What about this?
You made it sound like you got it wrong.
No, because, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of places. Well, 3
Can you
really.
get a smiley face?
Did you not notice it?
No.
That's too funny. It's totally supposed to be a smiley face. Yes. So if I hit there, 2 points. I hit there, 2 points. I hit there, 2 points. That is not a function.
Listen, Linda. I'm gonna need you to stop.
Linda. I feel like you're good, but I'm still gonna do one more.
One more.
How can I try? I'm trying to think of what was on the quiz.
You like a
Miss.
There was like one like this. It was like up and down,
Up and down like a roller coaster.
There was no curved line on it. It's not.
I
I
swear.
literally just
You're
graded
like
someone.
foaming in the mouth. You have like crazy.
I swear there was.
You might be talking about the same thing.
I don't believe so. Now there were some that had multiple straight lines on them, but there I don't believe I had any. If it was a curved line, it wasn't anything weird. Like it was just curved lines.
I know.
I know.
There's really I don't understand. Don't know how to make that tough.
Staircase.
Draw a chair.
All right, let's do that. That's a good one. I kind of like that thought. Is this a function?
No.
Yeah.
You can even look at it.
I know, really. Is that a function?
Yeah. Oh no.
Yes, it is. No, it's not. No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
No, it's not.
Because if you turn that line.
It's
into a
the
dot,
same line goes through the same thing like a whole bunch
If you
of
So,
turn that line into a dot.
These 2 sections are
are
fine.
fine. But it's that.
But here
that
I'm hitting a whole
vertical
bunch of
line.
points at once there. Like I literally hit every point on that at the same time.
Junior?
That line is a whole bunch of different points. I'm hitting all those points at the same time. So that is not a function there. I'm hitting every single one of those points at the same time. Any questions before I move on? We haven't even got. No, I got it. I'm about to eat the rest of the bag.
Yeah, I want it.
I'm hungry too.
I'm hungry.
I hear that. Is that a function?
No.
It is. That's a
But like,
function.
that's not a function.
It is.
That's a function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a function because all of those.
Yes, it is. It is a function. I love because it looks so funny.
She's not one
It's-
output.
So we have 2 lines, 2 arrows coming from the same number.
No, because
And
they
it's a
all have
function.
different-
That's all you gotta know. If you don't have 2 lines coming from the same number, then it is a function. I don't care what's going on over there. That means absolutely nothing in a mapping diagram. All you've got to look at in a mapping diagram is how many lines are coming out. 1 line, 1 line, 1, 1, 1. That is a function.
1 to 1.
Not 1 to 1. What would it be? Many. Because we have only 1 line coming out, but many lines going in over there. 1 to many. I think there's another one. I guess I could show it real
Why
quick.
nobody wanted to go to 3?
Is that a function?
No, because A has 2
That's where you
outputs.
have 2 lines coming out. 2 lines, not a function. No. Oh, I don't want to erase it. So now let's get to the, and you will have more difficult questions on this one. I'm going to have you do all of them, or certainly the ones you didn't do last time. So with that in mind, let's do that. What's the rate of change for that table? Show your work. You can do it. Oh, you don't have whiteboard. Never mind.
I want a whiteboard.
Why don't you give us one?
You can get one if you want.
You want the whole class have to do it?
Yeah, if you want to do, I'm not checking anything you do today. You have an exit take tomorrow. If you want to practice, now you won't have it in your notes if you do it on a whiteboard. So
True.
if you want to
What?
do that. So that's the only problem with the whiteboard is you then just erase it and it's gone forever.
Is this going with that certain formula?
Perhaps. Actually, it's the formula you tried to use a little while ago before it was time.
It would stay the same because you're reflecting over the x-axis, right?
Wait, is it? Where's your quiz?
We're reflecting.
Quizzy.
It's put
Oh,
the
this
question
is.
in.
I'm sorry. This is what he signed. I thought you had brought me a quiz with it, so I could see the grade on it. I see. That's what you're doing today.
Yeah. But I'm trying to see if you have to move, because I don't think you have to move the m because you reflect on the x-axis. So you know
You're gonna go to the x-axis?
Yeah, and then
If
zero.
it's on the x-axis, then yeah, it's the distance away from the axis. If there's no distance, if it's on the axis, then it stays on the axis. So if it's 1 below, it becomes one above. If it's 2 above, it becomes 2 below. It's always the same distance from the axis. There's a formula for it too, but I don't want you memorizing the formula, because then when you have an EOC, you don't have a formula. You guys draw all over your body.
Are you talking about me?
Yep.
This is henna. Sir, I cannot take this off.
That must be nice. Oh, Mr. Gill, getting my tattoo.
Did you have a question?
Where's it gonna be?
Oh, wait just a minute. I'll come look at it. They don't have to be next to each other, you just have to have 2 columns that you can move. 2 columns without being missing.
Right now, I'm
All
looking at the temp text.
Oh.
I'll be like this a little bit.
Mr. Gill was right.
Mr. Gill, I got it. Oh, wait, never mind.
There you go. You wrote it out perfect.
Wait, Mr. Gill, do you want us to
Took a little
simplify-
shortcut on the map. Yeah, if you have it done, I'll look at it. So let me see it real quick.
But I gotta do something
I feel like it's good.
wrong.
That's so mean, Mr. Gill. Your students are trying
She
hard.
said. That's what she said. Nobody asked me something.
What did you do? You got. Oh, Dean, you actually did 2 things wrong here.
Roasted.
Wait, is
I'm
the
not
top
sorry.
or color?
You have it.
You
No,
just.
you should love it as much as everyone else does.
Mr. Gill,
Yeah.
You told me that I did wrong thing.
I got it right.
Math.
I always get math wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some math you shouldn't get wrong.
You
What's
gotta
your
be
math?
sure.
5 minus 2 is what?
Bless you.
3 minus 1 is what?
Or should I get the one?
1 takes 2.
You did the same thing Dean did.
What did it say?
Mr. Gill?
What's the
Wait,
formula?
is it the top number?
I don't know.
The other one? Well, I took it yes, but like,
Well,
I don't know. How
Because
much
I
for
did
like,
3
minus
minus
one,
1 and got.
Oh.
I want to put down here.
It would be a whole sleeve
I don't
then.
know how I got one.
Wait,
Yeah, but
If
there's
I
something else
did
you did wrong.
it right here, like I did the first one right here, and then go up.
Oh, no.
Yay!
They got parts,
Yeah,
but
sure
it'd be
is.
weird because one's for depth and one's
That's
for fucking
right.
getting
Formula.
shit. Like, well,
I mean, that's the same thing.
I mean, yeah, but I think I feel like it could and I do it.
Go out there and do it.
I got this.
What numbers are you using? What value are you using for that?
Do you need this up here?
You are, but should you? What letter is it?
Oh.
Little things for what cost you guys points.
Why is that not on top?
Little tiny things cost you guys points.
Oh, Mr. Gill.
Yeah,
Mr.
this
Gill, okay.
Not really. I think
What did you
did
have
the
on?
math on
You had
it.
it flipped.
Yeah.
You did.
I know.
Wait, Mr.
He
Gill, why
said
isn't that X on top?
That's just the way they write
So
tables. X will always be on top. It'll always be on the
That's
left.
so
If you avert.
stupid.
Because it's the input.
So you know what that is?
But
what
did that?
Period. Oh, I forgot how to do that.
Well, then you gotta make sure you put the Y values on top.
That's so good.
Life is stupid, get over it.
Somebody thinks.
Honestly,
No, you didn't. No, you sure did.
I'm tired.
You need to be
Was that-
practicing
Is that
this.
supposed to be like a teddy bear?
that's supposed to be.
Although your grade wasn't horrible on
Is
it.
there a teddy bear?
There you go. Teddy
Are you practicing
Look
this?
at cat ears.
Wakey wakey.
That's not.
Maybe a cat.
All on you.
Now.
All on you. Gil.
No.
Miguel.
I don't know.
Miguel. Man, how do you fall asleep like that?
He's sleeping.
Crazy.
He finally sleep.
Mr. Gill, I got it right
Yes,
now.
I tried. Now I'm scared to wake him up anymore. He was out.
Ooh.
Plus, he did not see that.
How can you sleep like that?
I don't know. That's why I like. Get it out. He
No,
might.
that's not.
Does anybody have a mirror? I may need to check and see if he's breathing.
His neck hurt.
Like, you
I
know,
was gonna say,
Go like
see if
this,
he
go
fogs
like
up
this,
in
see
the
if
air.
he has a pulse
You
ox.
never seen that?
I
Like
check
in
his
movies?
neck right here.
In movies? I don't want to touch him.
Check
I can
his
put a
neck.
mirror in. Oh, he's alive. We were worried about you for a minute, man.
he's gotta
We
cry.
were worried about you for a minute.
Y'all for real thought he was dead?
Yeah.
I was worried.
He was not moving. Oh, I
It
thought
was
you
about to
was
call 911 up in here.
He looked like one of the dead bodies. Was not moving, not 1 inch.
Oh my.
All right, so Imani was nice enough to solve it out for you. Be careful. This is another one where at least 3 people, and I only checked about 5, got it wrong because they made simple little mistakes. Either they just did the math wrong, or they put, instead of the y values being on top, they put the y values on the bottom. Be careful. Make sure you plug the correct numbers in for the variables, and then that you can
I was
math.
paying attention.
That was from the other day.
I missed your third.
Get the answers on the board.
My third I have now, or the one you were in?
I was a 7th grade.
Sorry.
Why do you like third period?
Can you tell him to be quiet, Mr. Gill?
Be quiet.
Okay.
Is that a function?
Shut up.
Is that a function? Number 2.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it is because the -2.
I knew if I waited long enough, somebody would just change their mind. Like,
Well, it is. It is. Wait, it's not. It's not.
No, it's not because
It's not.
negative
It has the same. It has the same.
Yeah.
It is a function.
It's
It's a function.
Look,
It's a function.
2 and -2 and then
It's
4
a
negative 2.
function.
But it's
so you're
different.
saying it is or it
It's
isn't?
different numbers, so it's a function.
It's a function, even
It's a
though
function.
it's a
Oh, yes, it
function.
is.
Function
Oh,
because they're
yeah, it is.
numbers.
Yeah, it is. She's right. She's right. She's right.
Literally, this is
It's
the same
right.
one you explained last time why it
Gill.
was a function. Now you're saying it's not.
Well, I was right the first
Remember
time.
when you were
though.
back there and I said, no, that's, you thought I was making fun of you. I said, no, that's exactly right. That's the perfect answer of it. And you
What's the
explained how
correct-
it-
So I got
now
it
you said
right.
the opposite thing.
Well, she's starting me off, and she's smart. She's smarter than me.
I'm
Well,
not
no, she
smart.
was saying it was.
And I
You
said
were
it was
saying
too.
it.
At the end, I was like, yes, it is because they don't have the same.
Do the domain and range for that one,
input.
quickly. Do the domain and range for that problem now.
Oh, like line them up.
Quickly, quick, because we gotta get on to the hard problem.
There are no points.
There are no points.
Number 2, you're using the points in number 2.
Oh.
Sorry, I probably did have points before on the other one, I wanted you to do it number 2 though.
So we're just tracking points.
No, you're doing the domain and the range for problem number 2.
Oh my god, Mr. Gill, these negatives. So with the negative,
Oh, that's easy.
these ones are negative, but then.
Oh,
Now this one, or was that?
Well, again, to me, the better way to learn it is to draw it out. Draw the figure, or just put the points, you don't have to draw figures, put those points on that graph. And then figure out how far from the, no, the axis here is gonna be this. You understand that, right? You're not flipping it across the y or the x. You're flipping it across y is negative.
You should have skipped.
So the y is -2 would be right back to did.
Because these
It's
ones
like
are-
only 20 minutes in.
So then I go this way, right? Because this way,
Well, you know there's a formula for all of
then
this, right?
down to.
Hmm.
So I go, since this is negative.
Put the points on the graph. You haven't done what I asked you to do. Put the points on the graph. All right, what's the domain?
Wait, I'm not even done.
You should be done with the domain. Yeah, 2 is the smallest x value, right? So here are the, I'll circle the x's. This is actually a pretty good way to do it when you do your quiz, to keep you from getting confused. Circle the x values first. If you're doing domain, then pick your range. I'm sorry, your domain from those. Don't repeat anything, put them smallest, largest. Then erase that, unless you have different colors you can do it in. Erase that, then circle all the y's, put them in order, smallest to largest, don't repeat any of them. So smallest one I have circled is 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. I don't repeat the 4 twice.
The only one on.
So now, if I were doing it and I didn't have a different color to do it, I'd erase that, and I'd say, okay, well, let me circle the y. I'm doing the range now. I'm circling the y's, because that's where my range comes from. Now I can clearly see the values I'm choosing from. Put those in order, smallest to largest.
-2.
Negative
3,
2
and 5.
comes first. I don't repeat the other two negative 2s.
3,
Then
and
3,
5.
then 5. Good.
So I got it right? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so proud of
I
you.
hate him so much. Not you, Mr. Yo.
Oh, I know.
Good. It's good that you know that I don't think so.
I try to walk that fine line
I
in the
know.
middle.
But I just want her to know.
What's that? That is on there. A lot of people miss that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what people were trying to do when they missed that one, but they missed it. So when you, I gotta zoom in again. Was that the door?
Yeah.
No, I thought the door was open.
Yeah, pull. I think pull. Caden, pull.
Oh.
There you go. So when you get this question, if I give it to you again on there, which I don't know if I will for sure, but let's say you might see it.
You just barked at me. You barked at me.
Well, you started the trend. The whole school will be doing it soon. So when it asks you to evaluate x equals 3, sometimes it'll say this. This means that same thing. That's f of x. That's the function. And it says, what is this? That means, what is the answer when? Ask them.
We straight?
20 minutes.
Boy, if you can come over, Ms. Thompson, I haven't spent much time individually with anybody, so I don't remember exactly who you normally work most with, but they haven't gotten really much individual attention at all. So if you get even 10 minutes.
That'd be great.
Just
trying to get everything started.
Okay, this means, what is the answer? What is the y value? What is the y value? What's the answer? What's the output when x is 3? That's another way I could write that to make it a little different from just giving you the same exact question again. So on the quiz, I believe I just said, what's the answer, or what's the output, what's whatever I said, when x equals. And I specifically wrote out, just like I did up here, when x equals 3. I might, just to change it up a little bit, say, what's the answer to that? And same thing. Because x was x, now x is 3. Well, when it says that, I just, again, this is my x-axis, left and right. I find where x is 3. Well, here's the 3 value of x. What's my y value? Well, my y value for that coordinate, because that's the coordinate if I label it, my y value, oh, I'm sorry. My y value is -4. So the answer to that is just one number. Some of you put it as a coordinate or something, and some of you did something totally different stuff. Good job. Well, erase that real quick. So the answer is -4. So I think on the quiz I had it like this: y equals maybe or something. I don't even remember exactly what it was. The answer is still -4. Same thing. F of x, f of 3, y, they're all the same thing. They're the answer. What's the output, basically? Something will be on there. I don't know how I'll change it or if I'll even change it, but something will be on there like that. All right, so here's the ones we didn't spend a lot of time on. I don't know that we'll even get to the nested functions again. Axel, you got a couple of those right, by the way. Are you awake? Axel's still here. When I give you this, again, it's function notation. It's just an equation, but it's a linear function. That's the equation, meaning it's a straight line. If it's a linear function, it's a straight line if you graph it. All I'm asking you to do is just plug in the number when it says evaluate, or what is the value, or what other wording did they use? Really just evaluate and what is the value. So if it says x equals 3, you would literally, this is another way to write it that I might change it a little bit. I might not say when x equals 3, step on again. I would write maybe just that, and I'd say, what's that? You've got to understand that that means everywhere you see x, x is now a 3. So I would rewrite the equation part. And that's what G3 up, but you can do the math on that. What is the 5 and the 3? What's going on there?
13.
Yeah, we're multiplying. we're just saying this is 5 times 3, and then plus 1, so G of 3 is 16. I don't actually remember what was on there that you had to do. I think there was one problem where you had to evaluate. I think most people did okay. But all you're doing, plugging the number in and then doing the math and getting the answer. This just means this is the answer. G of x is the answer. What is the answer? This means what's the answer when x is 3. So then you can solve it. So here you would just plug 4 in, multiply 4 times -2, subtract 3. Let's do, I mean, there's no way to really make these that hard. I think everybody did okay on them, but there were some people that missed them. What if I said this? Oh, no, let's do this. What's this? Do that. Don't yell it out. Do it real quick. I don't care if you do it on your notebook and on your whiteboard, but don't yell it out. Oh. Here we go. Wake up, tune. Haley, come on, Haley, come on. We're getting into new stuff. You can wait. Haley, Haley, Haley. Haley. Oh. Okay. Look, I try so many times. I'm off. It's funny. Sometimes I catch kids like making faces and stuff, doing their own thing. That's the whole reason I became a teacher.
What?
All right, what is it? Should be pretty super
0,
fast.
15.
That is absolutely correct. This math should have been really fast. If I tell you x is 0, that just all goes away. 7 times 0 is 0, so it's just 15. All you did was you plugged in 0 for x. So that means x is 0. Just plug in 0 for x. 7 times 0 plus 15. So if 7 times 0 is 0, so if you add 15 to 0 is 15. Plug in the number and do the math. We did one of those on that bell work problem, but let's do that one. What's the rate of change on that? Rate of change on that. Be careful. I mean, you got notes, you got the formula in your notes. It shouldn't be hard. Do the problem in between your comedy act. Do the problem. What?
It was like it's a song.
It's a song.
Do the problem. If you bomb this quiz and you're 1 point away from that next higher grade, you're not going to get it from me. That would be a really bad position to be in. But I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get that 1 point. So maybe your grade's fine, maybe right in the middle, maybe this can't change it. But based on your effort level today, why would I give it to you?
What effort level?
Exactly, what effort level? Thank you. Exactly
I just
right.
did the problem on the book.
That was
You
not
did
a
one.
problem.
You did 1. No, she went up there and did 1.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Mr.
Because
Gill.
y'all need the answer.
If I have 65 right now and I get a really great.
I have no idea how much this class it can move a little more because you haven't had as many quiz grade. Like I can tell you my 1A that I've already checked this with them. Their exit ticket can only move them, their overall grade, about 2%. But they've had probably twice as many quizzes as you have. So the more quizzes you have, the less one quiz is going to move it. You've not had as many quizzes, so this will probably move yours a little more, but I can't say if it'll move it 5% or 2% or 3%. And it also depends on what you've gotten. The lower your quiz grade is, the more one quiz can
I
change.
think the highest quiz grade I
You know the answer to this? A Walker, I can look now. Actually, I haven't done it yet, but I can. So that would be that. Let's see what you got. Good.
I just,
You got, did you do that one? Because you kind of sort of had it right. You messed. Yes. C. You need to practice that one. There's the formula. Tell her the formula. You can be up front by in middle of next quarter if you don't get your grade up.
You probably should just put me up front.
I should, because there's
If
no
I don't
reason
like
for you not to be
sitting back,
getting
I
an
don't
A.
pay attention to that.
You know that, then yeah, you're gonna move up.
Right now.
I duh. So I don't know how much else. We haven't done the formula. I'll give you the formula for this. So when you see rate of change, you will use the formula. I'll give you that.
Fucking, I hate geometry so much.
So that's the formula I'm gonna use. I'll take a little time. You will take these little y values down here. You guys need to make sure that the numbers match up, whichever one you choose. Choose y2. And the 2 and the 1 just means that's your second.
Macaroni and salmon by Taco Bell.
Shut up, you're so annoying.
That just means, oh, I'm gonna use this y value. The second one just means my.
It is.
Oh, yeah, belongs to Bill. It need a wavy.
Yes. I guess if you don't remember the formula, you can't do anything. It's the y2 subtract y1 divided by x2 subtract x1. y2 subtract y1 divided by x2 subtract x1.
Well, I was talking about you, I was talking about doing it.
We're y2
You
subtract
see how you're
y1
quiet and he not? That's what I'm talking about.
Mr.
He
Gill.
not yet. He not yet.
and then divided by, so
Mr. Gill.
x2 subtract x1. So you need to try it.
Oh.
Mr. Gill.
You got it.
Well, I'll be a high school dropout.
Mr. Gill.
Oh my God, I got it. Mr. Gill. I swear, I'll be a high school dropout. I'm still gonna be
Did I
good.
hit you?
Yes, you did.
I was gonna say I'm sorry.
Wow.
Ooh,
I got my.
I don't know how to do that. How do I do
I
it?
just said y2 subtract y1.
Oh, I do it.
Yeah, that
I don't know how to
You
do
just did it.
That makes
Literally
no,
just
Mr. Gill, that makes no sense.
Why, then you know what you should have done when it didn't make sense and you went over it.
If I raise my hand, that could be like, oh, you're stupid. Da, da, da.
You should have been,
Who said
you will be him.
I will be here.
I will be him for you.
Okay, so.
Who gave it? Oh,
I got it right?
yes. So, you have y values and x values in the table. You have y values and x values in that table. You take a y and label it y2.
That's, I don't have that right now. We got 10 minutes.
I really gotta go.
Oh, and you're stopping there.
Is somebody out of the restroom right now?
You're right. It's 7.
Who's out?
Jameer.
Grab the image of the.
He's been gone a while, so say it was an emergency or you're looking for a pattern.
Cross Y.
Okay, I have it right now.
Oh.
Oh my God. I already messed
Yeah.
up.
Where's your stuff?
So
Do that.
reflection
Jocelyn,
means it's-
do that up there.
That's
You
right.
got it right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got it, Mr. Gill, I'm about to have it right one second.
And the other one's all on the same side.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it probably.
Well, but like on the back of it.
That's a, yeah, that's
On
a
the
dog.
back
On the back of it, it's
I don't know, like,
Yeah.
I do.
You need to do this problem up on the back.
Joking.
Alright, here you go.
You're good on it?
I don't.
Why is it that why around
Still on the
here?
top. So it's probably.
Yeah, and then you simplify it. Good.
So.
Mr. God, I'm waiting for you for a good like 5 minutes. I got the graph written down. I got the table
Like,
written down.
seriously, do you hear?
Like,
That might be the problem.
Mr. Gill, you beat your kid?
Mr. Go doesn't have kids.
Oh.
He does not. He does not beat his
Yeah, I
dog.
know.
He loves his dog.
A dog?
He might have some kids on there.
I have the steps.
Which is not even your son.
Did you ever get somebody in the school?
So,
Date somebody in the school?
you need to look at what was just done,
Okay. Oh, I
figure it out.
Okay, so
We've done it before.
It's like this.
Sister Gill,
It's gonna be
I did it.
14 minus.
Good, that's what I was gonna check. I was like,
See
I
this?
Sorry.
I worked for it.
See where it's 14 minus 5?
My name is
5 minus 2.
Yeah, you're flipping your
What do you have?
Y's are on.
Oh, funny.
This is why I say right from there. Oh, sure.
My name is Little.
These are the Y's.
Y2
14.
Boom.
minus
You got the numbers right, the math right, just make sure you put the Y's right. Explain if you don't.
Here is Y2 minus Y1. So it's 14 minus 5 right here. Okay?
So should I do it like that or like just flip the numbers from here to here or just do this?
It should be
Y2
is 14. It's going to be 14 minus 5 over 5
Remember what I said about.
minus 2.
Oh, so it's like from here to here?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, because this is Y2 minus Y1. Y2 minus Y1. Because from there to here, from there to there.
Oh.
What? Did you guys become comfortable with?
Yeah, I got comfortable.
Wow, that's like the biggest turnaround I've ever seen. Yeah, yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow.
In the classroom? You don't get it. Wait, can you re-say that? I have
Same shit, it's just 3.
Good.
Same shit.
I don't
I know it's on.
really test. I want to see A's.
Why didn't you
You're
give somebody?
more on paper.
You just put that on, that's what you do.
I put that there. I'm not like.
Actually, you can put C
I
like
know
that.
that I'm gonna get myself.
Okay, how about you do it on the
I'm fucking grown out and like in a bag, my hair in a bag.
You disagree with that?
He gonna simplify it for y'all.
It's literally divided this way, this and it's 3.
Look at that. Did you write that on your paper? Yeah. You didn't put the thing back like that.
So it's hard to tell. Sometimes I feel like you could have gotten an A on something.
It's all sleeping and it goes like this.
I don't know. All right, I guess we're done. I'm not gonna get to the new material. So you better do well on this because it's the same exact quiz. as
Sorry, I
the
just did it Oh my God.
We will maybe get to the stuff we didn't do, maybe not. We probably will just skip it. You have PS18 next Wednesday. We're
Oh
gonna
my god, oh my god.
probably one review day, because I don't see you on Tuesday. So we'll probably do one review day. And then you will be in here on Wednesday. You should be done and back in here. And we will probably do some math. Most of the day. We'll be back in here.
Did we go to lunch? Did we go to lunch?
I don't know exactly.
Oh my god.
I don't know the exact time. I have actually.
It's over there.
Oh, yeah. That was, and there's no, what there's no, whatever the, like you see on that whole big
Heavy duty.
He knows what he said.
Like, here's the
For like 30 minutes. Everybody touched you like 3 times. Yeah, he touched you like 3 times.
But I suck in this class. Wait, you have a question? You have a question. No, okay, if the class graded, is it like mostly graded on like test improvement? Then I'm gonna fail your class. You know that about yourself? I'm in an advanced dynamic listen. That's not true. I'm in an advanced dynamic like 5th grade.
Like, you started out there?
Oh my.
The election was great.
Oh my God. It was.
I'm gonna go over and scream.
But then when I asked you for help, you like,
And then you lost so much.
that's basically what it is not yet.
Next to the Walmart.
I live by way, so you can.
Walmart that's next to 7-Eleven.
He didn't know. Oh, he didn't? Okay. Like who?
No.
I got lunch.
Oh my God.
It was hell, not me. It was hell.
You say that.
I'm sorry, that's not like a white man.
I'm just saying.
I don't know what my
What?
I'm
I'm not hooking up with nobody.
the airport.
Okay, when you go in the airport, going everywhere.
That is far.
It's, what's your name? What's your name? I hate him.
We live like we live like down the street. You know how you go down to you go past Astro, yeah, in like McDonald's.
She's sitting, you're sitting near her.
What kind of
car?
You know
no help today.
That's what I said, right?
You're supposed to help me. You go force him.
Not here. That is why you're next to each other, because she likes helping and you like getting help.
You don't get
Police siren? You're sitting there with a blank paper.
I just put a
No, you are too, you're more of. You're not helping.
I even turned one. What if your whole car was
You're playing this helpless card, you're not helping.
your car would have
I don't mind helping you, but you're actually
You would have to
helping.
be really rich. I don't. I literally.
No,
Listen. Can you just?
No, because you're not right. I've seen you
What do
do
you?
stuff. I've seen you do stuff that you had 30 seconds before been saying you were helpless and didn't know how to do, and you're like, oh, that's it? Oh, yeah.
Like today? Today I was thinking about it.
No, because you never tried.
No, I'm gonna go home.
No, but
There
this
were
I know how
other
to do that. That
days
makes
when
no
you
sense
were
to me.
like, oh, I don't know what to do, and I said, oh, you do it. Oh, okay. What are you doing?
Oh, I kind of.
Yeah, see, when you truly look at
I-
something,
Yeah.
when you will truly try and focus, it's not, you're just plugging in numbers in those spots.
Wait. I, okay, so
Because that was your final quiz on.
They were so long. I got tripped up doing it several times. I had to like erase.
The next final, or they're not, it won't be the final quiz, but your next big quiz will be earlier in the quarter.
Anyways, don't feel me if the math is wrong because.
No, math, I don't take off tons of points as long as you're doing the steps. Don't leave.
That really hurt my
Do you
feelings.
see what I'm saying?
No, but I don't see what you're saying.
I wish I could show you papers that I get from other students.
Then just show me those.
I can't, no, because they don't get it. You just need to get your effort level up. If I look through your notebook and compare it with somebody that takes good notes, I bet half of them are missing. That is not effort. I mean, that's not understanding.
Mr. Gill, but why would you be like me? I take notes, but I don't understand.
But you have a.
Yeah, I have an okay grade. I have a 60.
Did you have all of it? What lunch do you have? You need to come in one day, we'll do one thing, and I'll show you
No,
that you
because
get
you
it.
don't help me. I'm like, I need help.
No, you don't, come in, you come in, you come in one lunch, and I'll show you how easy some of it, you'll be like, that's it? Because you've done that in class before, that's it?
When? When have I done?
I remember one day I was standing right here, I don't remember what the time it was, but I'm like, yeah, you just do that. Oh, that's all?
That is not true.
So true.
No, I'm not.
All right, don't, hey, again, it's up to you, but I'm telling you, you can get it. There's no doubt in my mind.
I'm right.
No doubt in my mind you can get
Hey,
it.
see you later.
All right, see ya.
That's a huge class.
Yeah, 33 now, and most of them are problems.